The sub 4 meter class of cars have gained tremendous popularity in the last 5 years or so. They have the appeal of an SUV despite sporting dimensions that make them look straight out of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Moreover, the excise duty benefits that these cars get make them extremely competitive in terms of pricing and thereby make them practical purchases. Maruti Suzuki couldn't quite ignore this booming segment for long and recently brought in a well-rounded product in the Vitara Brezza. However, along with the Vitara Brezza, there is another new entrant in this segment, the Mahindra NuvoSport, and it is more than just a redesigned Quanto. For us, the compact SUV segment just got a lot more interesting. Design is a matter of personal preferences and tastes. While some might prefer the subtle cues of the Vitara Brezza, others would love the bulk and the rather flamboyant design of the NuvoSport. In terms of sheer size though, it is the NuvoSport that is definitely larger and more intimidating than the Vitara Brezza. Although it looks smaller in dimensions than most other compact SUVs, we simply love the beauty and subtlety approach by Maruti. On the inside, Maruti Suzuki has played it safe by fitting an all-black dashboard which gets fine touches of brushed aluminium and piano black. It gets a large touchscreen infotainment with inbuilt navigation and Apple CarPlay. The placement of the buttons of the automatic climate control is not very conventional and take a bit of getting used to. Build quality, although better than the NuvoSport, isn't very impressive either. The textured plastic on the upper half of the dashboard feels a bit tacky and the panel gaps on the central panel aren't consistent either. The NuvoSport's dashboard on the other hand looks somewhat similar to the Quanto, mainly due to its central aircon vents. The textured plastic on the dashboard looks substandard and the quality isn't something to write home about either. The NuvoSport doesn't get an automatic climate control but makes use of conventional knob layout instead, which by the way is extremely easy to use. The seats on the Brezza are well bolstered but a bit too firm for a liking. The NuvoSport on the other hand sports wider seats but are not as supportive. The NuvoSport's wheelbase is longer than the Vitara Brezza, thanks to which it is able to make more space on the inside. Passengers in the second row not only have loads of leg and knee room, but by pushing the wheels on both ends as far apart as possible, Mahindra has been able to squeeze in jump seats at the back. Yes, the jump seats aren't good enough for adults, but even the 5+2 arrangement might attract a lot of buyers. The Vitara Brezza is fairly spacious at the back, but just not as roomy as its rival here. The Maruti offering is not as wide as the Mahindra, due to which 3 at the back might not be as comfortable. Moreover, the NuvoSport gets a flatter floor at the back, resulting in better footroom for the third passenger. Under thigh support on both the cars is more or less the same. Both cars get plenty of stowage spaces in the cabin. The touchscreen infotainment on the Vitara Brezza is very easy to read and navigate, and all the information you need is right here in front of your eyes on the instrumentation. The touchscreen infotainment on the NuvoSport is an aftermarket one. The angle isn't right for viewing and the interface isn't exactly user-friendly either. The controls are too close to each other and require you to take your eyes off the road while navigating. And sadly, there are no buttons on the wheel to toggle between songs and radio stations. Mahindra has placed the gear shift indicator, distance to empty and some other information on a display screen at the top of the center console, which isn't the best place to put it. Now the Vitara Brezza sports the same 1.3-litre turbocharged diesel unit as the S-Cross. Although it makes slightly lesser power and torque as opposed to the NuvoSport, it feels quicker because of the reduced weight. The VGT aims at eliminating turbo lag, but there's no covering up for the lack of low-end punch on the Brezza. In fact, quite often you are even forced to downshift while overtaking. Rev the Brezza hard and it gets quite noisy inside the cabin too, something that can get annoying over long distances. The Mahindra NuvoSport gets the same 1.5-litre diesel unit from the TUV 300. However, in this state of tune, it makes 101 PS and 240 Nm. The NuvoSport stock comes in as low as 1600 RPM, which makes it feel a lot more eager at lower revs than the Brezza and somewhat helps in compensating the increased weight. However, once you climb up the revs, the NuvoSport feels a bit sluggish and the turbo lag becomes evident. Inside the cabin though, the NuvoSport is more silent than the Brezza. Just like the Swift, the 5-speed manual transmission on the Vitara Brezza is slick and precise. The gearbox on the NuvoSport feels rubbery and has long throws. The NuvoSport is a lot taller than the Vitara Brezza and one has to really climb into it. Although the seating position in the NuvoSport is tall, visibility from the driver's seat isn't great. What's more, it gets only 2 IR sensors at the back which sometimes fail to detect obstacles towards the edges, making it that much more difficult to park. A softer suspension setup means that the NuvoSport can absorb bumps with relative ease. The 215/65 section tires ensure that the NuvoSport offers a supple ride quality. However, over large potholes and continuous undulations, the NuvoSport does feel a bit boaty. The Vitara Brezza on the other hand feels a lot car-like in its dimensions. Ingress-egress as well as visibility all around is a lot better. The Brezza also comes with a reversing camera which makes it easy to park even in tight spots. Set up on the stiffer side, the Vitara Brezza doesn't ride as well as the NuvoSport over bad roads and broken surfaces. However, the overall ride quality is pretty consistent and it has better road manners too. The Brezza here is for the enthusiast. The steering wheel feels precise and communicative. The suspension is set up on the stiffer side which keeps the body roll in check, and the tires offer ample of grip. It feels a lot stable at high speeds too. The brakes has ample of bite and there's good stopping power as well. In the handling department, the NuvoSport feels a lot better than its predecessor. Borrowed from the Scorpio, the chassis is a lot stiffer than the previously used Bolero platform. However, it is still not as good as the Vitara Brezza. There's quite a bit of body roll due to which it doesn't inspire as much confidence, and the tall dimensions does upset its center of gravity. And then there isn't enough feedback on the steering wheel too. The brakes are a lot more gradual and progressive than the Vitara Brezza and they don't have enough bite too. In terms of practicality, the NuvoSport stands tall here. It not only has the advantage of 2 extra seats, it has a bigger boot too. If that isn't enough for you, Mahindra has made enough space under the rear bench seat to fit a few laptop backpacks too. The Mahindra NuvoSport is marginally cheaper than the Vitara Brezza, but the latter more than makes it up in terms of efficiency. Moreover, the kind of service network that Maruti has is unrivaled. Mahindra has done well to bring in the NuvoSport at a time when the sub-4 meter SUV segment is booming. The improvements on this one are easily evident over its predecessor, but the NuvoSport still has a lot of rough edges. Maruti Suzuki is known to make promising all-rounders and the Vitara Brezza is no different. It scores very well in almost every department, making it the pick in this comparison.